Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It is Friday. It's the end of the week. You can see they've done a quick jump up. What was that? There is the intraday S&P 500. You see that is at right on the numbers about I can say, what can I say, 40 seconds ago, 55 seconds ago now. And you go you've gotten 4 bars in less than a minute, because of the activity, the volatility, and so forth. And you can see the numbers up on J4X right there. Oh, let me put the chat line up. There we are. And you can see there, GDP was 0.3 of a percentage point. Expected was 0.3. And you can see, let's see what else. I think we had, I guess that's about it. I think we have a couple other numbers out. And the end result is that that seemed to be the big one where they cared. And whoa, let's kill that volume. No, that didn't do it. There we go. So no one's saying hi. So that's did I do it right? Let me just go back and do it again. Skip it. Let's see what that is. Okay, there it is. We're on our chart. I see that. Let's see if we hear our volume real quick. Yep. There you go. So we hear our volume real quick, and that's not bad either. So we're good. There's Robin. Hey, Robin, how you doing? We can get rid of this, I guess. And I just thought I'd put the stock up on the Chicago Quant just to give you a flavor of the action. Basically, I guess you could say is that they've made back half of what they gave up yesterday. I guess that's the best way to describe it. And they're above yesterday's close, and they're above Wednesday's close. So, just when you sit back and you think, is this real? Is this happening? That type of thing. It does play it that way. It is real. You see the prices changing, and you can see the action that we're getting from it all, and that's pretty much the nature. That is the nature of it all. All right, let's go back to. We don't need to see. You can see that it firmed up the equity markets right there. Let's go back to the dollar index, and there it is right there. Dollar index is down a little bit. We can see over on J4X. What's that all about? Let's just double check that. Is there a refresh on this thing? Okay, so that seems to be reflecting it, right? We can see right here. Oh, that's right. I don't know. Let's see. Was it 101.20? We're at 101.30. Oh, I know what it is. This is delayed by 15 minutes. That's what it is. Okay. So it was down, and then when the news came out, the dollar index is lifting up. Oh, no. You know what it is? That's the weekly. That's why it makes no sense. Because I didn't think it was that delayed. There we go. That makes sense. It's not delayed. It's the DAX that's delayed. That's what it is. And so you can see right here, the dollar index is moving down a little bit from that news. I guess, they're interpreting it that interest rates, was it Mountain yesterday said something about, wow, fundamentals are totally off, Well, thanks. That's good. That's good. It's good, Robin. What else is brewing? We got the weekend coming up. What else can we say about any of that? You know what I put on the, I put the dollar index on my subscription. And the next time I'm up there, I can throw it up on there for you, too, so you can be able to see the dollar index live. Let's see, what else can we say about all this? I guess this is your classic end of the week, big news. Now, the end of the month is actually Monday. So because the end of the month is Monday, the markets pretty much have all of the data that they need. I don't think there's anything else that comes out on Monday. Let's just take a look. That would be an interesting thing. Is there a bigger number coming out on Monday? Something we walk right into, like banging into a door. Let's see, trading, and let's take a look at the Dukascopy calendar. Dukascopy calendar says, what does it say? Next week. Okay, here we go. And on Monday, we have 6-month auction. That's about it. Okay, so dollar Fed manufacturing business index at 10:30, and the Chicago one comes out at quarter to 10. But it doesn't look like there is no 8:30 surprises, Eastern Standard, or 7:30 surprises to you, Robin. So okay, so that we've basically seen all the big data. All right. So you can see here the dollar index trying to move down a little bit. It's been in that daily buy since the bottom here. Weekly buy has not changed. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out going into the next week or so. I doubt that we're going to see. There's the hinkies. You can see the daily there, and then when we go back to the weekly on the chart here, you see it is trying to generate a buy, and the blue line has lifted through, but we're not seeing that same action over here. We're seeing the blue line just get up to the manifold itself on the minus side, not touching the zero line. And we'll see if next week it's just another situation, or does this lead us? Let's see. That's going to be an interesting one. Sometimes once in a while, even with it kind of delayed in calculations, not in data, but calculations. Once in a while, you get a very interesting signal from that beats the Chicago quant, and that wouldn't surprise me. We'll see. See how the math interprets the weekly going into next Monday. All right. So from there, let's march over to the euro this morning. Last I looked, the euro was kind of. I guess it was, things have changed since the data came out, so let's take a look at it and not whine about it. And right there's the euro. Not. There it is, here you are. It's popped up from that sell-off yesterday. We've been in that daily sell from this nice little slide, but we're in that weekly buy. So there's that dichotomy, that two-sided thing, like Mountain was saying. The fundamentals say it should do this, but it's doing that. And the same thing goes with this time of the year. The last week and a half, 2 weeks of July, and the first week and a half to 2 weeks in August, we get a lot of sloppy action. So none of this action really surprises me. I'm so used to it throughout the decades. We've had this occurrence constantly where we get that type of sloppy action, and it just doesn't go away. It is what it is. Let's see, where's it at here? Trying to get to. Okay, there we go. Let's put it up on J4X too. The euro against the dollar. Right there. You see the weekly is trying to generate a pressure down. How about that? It's doing the same thing as the dollar index inversely. Interesting. It's at the top of the range. We will be watching. It'll be interesting to see how they play that out. All right. Now from there, let's take a peek at. There we go. What else can we say about any of this? I don't have much else to say. Okay. From there, let's... Oh, cool. From there, let's move over to the GBP JPY. Right? No, I'm sorry, not GBP. Dollar. A GBP dollar. And doing the same thing on that weekly. It's trying to press down. And it's rolling over from the top. And... let's put it up right there. You see there's a nice little pop going on. It wasn't a buy. Oh, yesterday it did go into the sell. Let's steal this sell. Went into the sell yesterday. And we'll put this over here. Wait for it to go into a buy. And we'll just move it over to the right. Nice little strength there kicking out. Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 166. So they're still picking it up a little bit more. It's kind of interesting. And you can see the S&Ps are kind of stalled out in the mid 90s, you know. Interesting. And that's the GBP JPY. You know, it seems that, you know, when you're in the middle of the death, I guess you could say the thickness of it, or the, you know, the dead center of our summer here in the North America. People try to take vacations. They try to get out and they try to, you know, enjoy themselves with the good weather and swimming and boating and hiking and doing all kinds of fun things. Nope, we don't want to do that. Wrong place. Wrong keyboard. There we are. And so from there, we'll go over to the Swiss. Had a friend text me this morning about the dollar and the yen and the Bank of Japan. You know what we talked about yesterday, the BOJ and all the things that were going on, and they said, how does the yen move the dollar like that? I said, thin market, and you know that everything is connected when it comes to the way all the central banks across the planet and the Federal Reserve leading them, you know, on this charge all the time of direction. So that was the extent of it all, and then I kind of used them as an example. Now, the reason why I'm thinking about that out loud was I gave the example of the yen and the Swiss last year in October, how they both just went walkabout compared to all the other pairs currencies trades, you know, like, you know, cable or euro or, you know, just all of them. They all kept doing their thing, but those two currencies went just incredibly in a different direction. And we saw that. And let's just go back and look at that again, because this is an interesting thing, because that is in the news right now. So you go back to, here it is right there. There's October. They put this low in, and we're watching the cable, not the cable, let's do that again. The Swiss was down. What's going on there? Where's the 90s at? I thought it was in the 90s. Why am I not seeing this? Let's put a weekly in here. Make J4X the large. There we go. Yeah. So right here. So here's the 22, and it was down here in the middle, you know, in the beginning, or let's say going through the summer, you know, it was down in the 90s, 89, 90, and then, you know, it climbed. I guess you could say, if we go like that with it, going into the third quarter, it climbed and roared up when all the rest of the currencies, except the yen, let's show you the yen, dollar-yen pairs trade, did the same exact thing. You know, where's it at? Second quarter right here. And you can see that takeoff. And that was where there was that problem with Credit Suisse. And obviously, now this is an interesting way of looking at it, at least the way Doc looks at it. Let's put it that way. What happened was you get this, you know, which you think, you know, you're talking about global markets, right? So you're thinking, how can something small like that influence everything like that, you know? Or, you know, a major country. So, let me go back again and see it. Michael Anton. Huh. So, you know, you look at that and you go, okay, you know, this kind of makes some odd sense, you know, in the sense of, why is... Oh, let me just kill the volume on this.
But nevertheless, there's the following data points.
The physicists have started. This is the last day of Strings 2023 out of Waterloo, Canada. There we go. So from there, what you get is you see how two currencies could be influenced by just a basically simple thing. And that is a banking problem, right? You look at that and you go, okay, How does the Swiss currency go from like 90 to 101? And how does the yen currency go from 105 or 112 or something like that? I think it was 105. We talked about it. We even put a big alarm out about it. You know, it was going to break out for the third time, and it did. We thought it would go to the 130s. It went to the 150s, and it was all because of a bank having delivery problems of bonds and paying, future debt. Not like the Chinese where they just declare bankruptcy and just walk away to the foreigners, and then they bail out the domestics. This situation automatically scared those two currencies, just those two currencies. And you say, wait a minute, you're telling me that a major bank, not the central bank, a major bank, Credit Suisse, is having a delivery problem of like 30 or 40 billion dollars, and it's freaking out. Massive moves in these two currencies, and you can see that big hump right there. You see that big hump from it, and you see the same thing in the Swiss. Okay, so now I guess you could say, is we fast forward to, they resolve it. They resolve it here. The Federal Reserve does all kinds of swaps and does things like that with the Central Bank of Switzerland, and the next thing you know, it's breaking down and cleaning itself up and makes a nice new low down in here, and then we see here this is the yen. No, this is the yen at this point. Okay, so it goes up here and breaks down. Now let's put the Swiss back in there. Now the Swiss, they resolved their banking problem, with that one specific bank, and you can see it breaks down, does that curve, same spot as the yen does. And then just keeps on marching down to the lows and beyond of where it all started. All those issues, it started right here and challenged even the lows here at that point. So in other words, they clean up the Credit Suisse problem, just a bank, a private bank, public bank, I guess you could say. But it's not the central bank. They clean it up, the Federal Reserve and the Swiss National Bank, their central bank, clean it up. And the currency goes back down and everything is fine, right? Look at that move. 101 down to 85 and change. And I thought the best we could see is 87, maybe a high 86. I'm not complaining. I mean, obviously we were so right. But then you go back to the yen. And we see what the yen did right there. That same time period. Remember, between the first quarter and the second quarter. It does that little bounce, the same thing as the Swiss right there. And we figure, it's just a dead cat bounce. And no, goes on a tear. Keeps on rolling back up, trying to go after this. Now we've gone into this. This is the weekly chart. You can see it's gone into that, and it's kind of smoothed out. And it's trying to roll over now. But now BOJ is in the news. Matter of fact, you can see what they did late last night or incredibly early this morning to some of you. Let's see if we can put it up there on the screen for you. And we heard yesterday right before, and we're going to go just a quick move. Let me find the story and so forth. Where is it at? Right here. This is just an example of how the fundamentals are incredibly twisted by the tightness. Let's see, defective policy events. There it is right there. Let's move this over. And there it is right there. Futures rebound after BOJ YCC tweak turns out to be less hawkish than some feared. And it shows, they were going to do a major change, and that was from yesterday. That's showing you, this one right here is showing you the S&P yesterday. When they made that announcement, and it got clocked, and then let's you can, you can't see that. Wait a second. Let's do this. There it is, and you can see it right there, and that's because we go like that. This is basically the statement. Futures rebound after BOJ, Bank of Japan. The YCC tweak turns out to be, in other words, the Bank of Japan's yield change that they were talking about, allowing it to float past the 5.0. The just where was it at? It was like, I think it was 0.05. They were going to, in other words, a half a percentage point. They were going to let it float past that. Because remember, they do trade bonds over there. There it is right there. Having previously capped bond yields at 0.5%. Not 5%, a half a percent. And, you know, some of the bonds in the government bonds in Japan still are trading at a minus. Okay? They've put out $4 trillion since 2012 or 13, I think it is, you know, to deal with their situation. The government has. And so when you see something like that, let's move that off the screen. And then we go over to, well, we can, you know, let's do it on the intraday, because the intraday was so neat. You know, you could see what was going on there. Here's the intraday. This is when the news, I guess this is the, there must have been a smell of it. Someone's talking about it. Right here is when that news comes out at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 12 Chicago time. And it looks like the markets are really getting ready to take off. Rob and I are talking about it. I was bidding on some futures, and the next thing I know, I cancel it because my math starts to roll over. And matter of fact, this particular chart, let's go to this chart. This is the one I saw start to roll over. Where's it at? Right there. I start right here. It started rolling over right there, and I thought, don't. You know, if the tail was there, and I'm thinking to myself, remove the bid. They've hit the top of the Bollinger Band. Our math is rolling over. And the next thing you know, from the 620, where I thought we were getting up to 620, we were up to 625 with the high of 33. So we're thinking, you know, going after the highs. And sure enough, it just rolls over and just keeps on rolling over. And it drops. It drops almost, 75 points. The S&P dropped 75 points. 75 handles. You know, 75 handles going from 4,625 all the way down to almost 4,550. And the Dow goes from like up 200 points to like down like, you know, 300 points. You know, it's like a 500 point swing. So now we go back to the currency world, right? You can see this morning, they obviously see it's not as bad as they thought. You know, whatever. And at this point, we go back to the currency itself right there. And we look at the yen. And, you know, the yen is breaking down again a little bit, but not there. You can see that it's still trying to lift up today. You know, now that they found out that they're not going to tweak, and what it did to the world equity market. You don't know. Oh, hey, Stanley, how you doing? And you just don't know what the Fed. Matter of fact, I had heard somebody yesterday say it wouldn't have been anything that for Powell to come out and call them and say, our market's overheating. Put an article out, you know, that you're going to tweak the interest rate, and then, you know, when you come out at your AM meeting on Friday, don't do it. And that'll calm down the markets a little bit. That I heard some people saying that yesterday afternoon, because Robin and I are looking for the news. We're trying to figure out what hit. We had, you know, and you know what it was. What was interesting was it looked too well coordinated by our central bank, because the central bank just got done doing a bond auction. I think it was the 7-year bond auction they did yesterday, and it got smacked. You know, it was, or it might have been the 3-year bond auction, and it got smacked. In other words, it got treated poorly. And so at the same time that there's a story coming out about BOJ possibly tweaking their half a point mandate, the bond auction is a bad bond auction. And who really knows what a bond auction is? The Federal Reserve. Who defines the bond auction? You know, the tail, the amount of bids, you know, the Federal Reserve. And so what does it do? It cools off the equity market. It just looked like it was a whole coordinated effort. You know, just whole coordinated effort. So, myself, I just kind of looked at it and went, something's definitely wrong there. And they just kept on selling it down. And I thought, well, they're going to try to bounce it, and our math just wouldn't turn. It just kept on driving almost down 75 handles. That's a pretty big, and think about high to low, it's 82. You know, from 33 down to, what was the low yesterday? Just for real, you know, accuracy of communicating. The actual low there was, you can see it right there, is it? Right there? Yeah, I guess that would be it right there. That's the actual low of 4,553.75. That was the low right there. So basically 54. So 54, that's 46, and 33 on top of that is 79. We had a 79-point swing, a 79-point handle swing, which, if you were saying in Dow terms, it would be like, a 790-point Dow drop from its high to low. And it was all organized very well around the Federal Reserve. This article was a plant. Yeah, it looks like it. Totally looks like it totally looks it. And Robin and I are sitting there trying to figure out what the heck is just going on here. And I saw the bond auction. I didn't take the bond auction as serious, but I knew something else was out there. It was you could see there's just selling and selling and selling, and we don't. They know, the Federal Reserve and the central banks across the planet know the amount of pressure of overnight investing and margin, and how much a fund or an institution can hold, and how much they don't have reserves to cover. And that's what we just saw. What they did is they put that pressure on, and that's exactly what it is. That is what's going on, and there is no other way. Let's see. Okay. So that is exactly what happened, and I think it's a blow your mind moment as far as I'm concerned. And in my one of the old exchange friends was asking me a question about it all, and I sent that out. I said to him, if you really want to look at it seriously, you got to look at it in all honesty. You have to go look at it. What happened to the Swiss and the yen when Credit Suisse Bank had problems last year? They did the same exact thing. They marched totally different than all the other pairs trades. None of the pairs trades marched with them. They were on their own, but those two just went walkabout. Totally walkabout for you Australians out there. That's the only way to describe it. Walkabout. So, all right, now from there, where do we go from there? Oh, okay, yeah. So that kind of, what that does is that clarifies the games that are being played, and technical analysis seems to be one of the only tools. Like Mountain came out yesterday and said, I don't see Mountain in this morning, but it was like fundamentals. If you go look at yesterday's webinar, you'll see Mountain comes in there on the chat line and says, why are the fundamentals going in the total opposite direction of why are the products going in the opposite direction of the fundamentals? What is the what's the problem there? Why is it doing that? And that's your answer. That is your answer. And it's just not realistic. It is not realistic when it comes to trying to trade in a fundamental way. You're not getting real, I guess the best way to say it is, if A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then C normally is equal to A. I'll say that one more time. If A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then obviously C is equal to A. Well, guess what? And sometimes with the central banks, C is not. Even with it being if C is equal to B, sometimes it's not equal to A. And it's like, wait a minute, how can A equal B and B equal C, but C somehow or another doesn't equal A? That's crazy. It's upside down. That makes no sense. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. And it's very odd. It's a very odd thing to actually, we cannot see exactly what the Fed is doing all the time. We can only see bits and pieces. But some of those bits and pieces tell us a greater story, a more accurate story than what's coming out of their mouths. what words they're saying. So, and that is that. I guess that's that's just the way we look at it. All right. So from there, let's jump back to the currency pairs, and let's see what else is going on. Let's see. Right there. Let's go to. We were doing Swiss. There's a Swiss, and now we have the yen up there. So let's go to yen. And there's the yen. And the yen had a nice big swinging day the last 2 days. You can see that both bars are way bigger than these average bars. I mean, that's pretty big. In a daily sell, let's steal this sell right there. This is the third day. So they knew they were front running themselves a day ahead of the news yesterday. So on Wednesday, today's Friday. And so on Thursday, when this all rolled over, on Wednesday they went into a sell. Our math picked it up. We were also, right from the beginning of the week, we were way down and deep in a weekly sell, right off. We talked about that on Monday and Tuesday. Specifically Tuesday, we talked about that. So on Tuesday, we slide into like the weekly sell with it well below the bottom manifold. And then, the daily sell kicks out on Wednesday, and then all this noise happens on Thursday and Friday. And that's why, there's Juan again. Oh, did I miss Juan last night? I missed Juan last night. Oh, the whole gang is there. It's the IAS, basically. Okay. Global symmetry. I like that. Yeah, I told this guy about the symmetry a while back, and he just told me no. He just laughed me off. All right. Maybe one day you'll be able to see me on strings. Maybe I will actually talk to them besides just personal conversations on the side. I will go challenge the planet on string theory. Witten and I will go do a battle. Maybe. I don't find the value in it personally, but maybe someday I will. All right. From there, since you all get stuck watching my physics math incorporated into currencies. Let's see. Alrighty. So. Let's jump over from the yen, we go to the Turkish lira. Right there. There's the Turkish lira. We got a little pop there yesterday from that. Probably more than anything else, probably from the Japanese situation, BOJ. But we've been in a daily sell since it made an all-time high right there about 2 weeks ago. We're still in the weekly buy. You can see the fast has backed off. You see the slow is just breaking the manifold, but they're well above the zero line. You can see the histogram representing that. Heading over to Turkish lira, Euro Turkish lira pairs trade. You can see that right there. All that strength on the weekly. It's up at the very high top end of its range. And that's obviously, you can see that curve that's occurring, and just like our curve right there, and the curve on our slow right there. And then we slide over to the daily. Right there, there's the daily. And you can see there a lot of red there for a bunch of days. Matching up to, let's see, right. Okay. What's this? Did Biden just make an announcement that he's not running for president? Let's see if there's some news out there. Is anybody hearing that? It sounds like something was said just recently. Zero Hedge will have it up there fast. Let me see. Biden not running. Let's see if that comes out. Did they just say something? Slow pace of Biden's re-election campaign feeds. No, I guess not. Oh, wait a minute. Here it is. That came out. When did that come out? No, nah, no. It's not news. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I don't know. There's an insinuation here. That's no, that's not. No, there's no update on that. I guess they're saying if he doesn't run. For a minute, the Department of Justice confirms investigation of Hunter is ongoing. Okay. All right. I don't know. I don't know what that is all about. We'll wait and see. I'm sure we will hear it, and the markets will do all kinds of flip flops and so forth if something like that came out. All right. Now from there, let's jump over to. Where do we jump over to? Let's see. We did Turkish lira, and now we will slide over to the what I call the. It'll be interesting. We're going to find out in August at the BRIC conference how big, how powerful, and how involved the Mexican peso is. That's going to be very interesting. I'm going to take a sip of my tea. That tastes good. All right, let's go to the Mexican peso. Unless someone wants to see something out there. There's dollar peso right there. And as you can see, let's put it up on Chicago Quant too at the same time, and that is the daily. Right there. You can see we're at the low end of the range. You know, it's gaining against the dollar again. The Mexican peso is a good example of the strength of other pairs, and at the same time, the weakness of the dollar. Because they just keep on marching up. They don't march down. And when we go over and look at it over here, you see today, another low. And when we blow it up, make it full screen. The last time we seen the peso down at that area, let's put a weekly in there at the moment. That'll help out better. Last time we saw the peso down in this area was right before Mr. Trump took office. Interesting. It seemed to try to hover down there, but it was, and that's when Mr. Biden won, and then you know, now it's driving down again. I'm not sure. This was during the Obama years. I don't know if you can link, you know, which policies benefit Mexico or what don't. But there's one thing for sure is it is a very good trading currency, and it really reflects, you know, that, you know, they supposedly want to be part of the BRIC, and if they're going to be part of the BRIC, that'll make them the number one BRIC. So, all right. From there we go to, we'll go to the second biggest BRIC in the marketplace, and that is the South African Rand. Right there, man. You can see, you know, it was up yesterday. Now it's coming back down again, which would make sense. That move up represented that slide in gold. Remember, I was saying yesterday when we look at the gold. Let's put it up on J4X. When we look at the gold, South African Rand trade, you know, it's a really good indication of what gold itself is doing. Usually it leads it. Only since the political turmoil of the president over the last 9 months has it not. It's gotten really sloppy, and we've had to put up with that now for a while. Let's see, where's it at? Right there. There's gold. Let's see, let's turn off Hinky just to see. I think it might be back up again because, yeah, look at that. Well off the lows of this morning and yesterday and lifting back up again. And that was the influence of that Chinese situation, or I'm sorry, Japanese stuff that occurred. And let's go over there to the, there we go. And let's take a look at gold. right there. And gold sold off from all that, and so did silver. It's in the sell, but still in the weekly buy, so you don't try to take that short. And you can see it's bouncing up today. And that's the December gold now we're paying attention to. Robin, we moved from Augie Doggy to Christmas silver. I'm sorry, gold. Gold. We're in Labor Day silver. That's what it is. All right. From there, we see that's the gold. We'll see what they do with that today. See if they get it back up. That was a big move. We went from like the 15, 16 area, 2000-ish, down to 80. I think the low was 81.20, and now we're trading at 92. So we're about $10 off the lows. All right, and then we go the last currency we look at when we match it up to a commodity. We slide over to front month oil right there, and it's at 80.02. It's been climbing up. We would expect over the same 2 weeks that the Canadian dollar would be gaining against the American dollar. Okay, right there. All right, and so from there you can see that it's not acting the way we normally see it act. The Canadian has been moving up too, and it's not supposed to do that. It should be doing something like this. And we keep on waiting for it to break. And ever since the inflation situation, for South African Rand, it was the political situation, finding all that cash in the president's office, in his sofa. For the Canadian, it's been the inflation that seems to be a big influence on the two pair, the Canadian working against the dollar and how oil moves. So that's been the odd little beast out of it all. All right, now let's move over to we'll go to the back month of oil. Since oil was at just about $80 a few seconds ago, now it's let's go to the November contract right there. It's trading at $79.09, so it's about a 90-cent premium now. We've seen that thing go from a 20-cent premium 3 month back to a 90-cent over the last like 2.5 weeks. Obviously, they're reaching for the front month. They need that. They need the oil. They need that material. So that is the pressure. That is the pressure that's going on, and there's not much stopping it at this point. Now I guess what you can say is, what can you say? I guess in the end result is that oil is going to be firm. They're going to use it. They need it. I saw. What did I see? The friend that from the exchange that sent over that asked me about the yen and the bonds and the market. Sent over something that was interesting. He told me that I guess the world is 2 million barrels under supply. That's what he told me. He said that he follows something. He said that we've gotten to a point now where we're about 2 million barrels under officially. So in other words, there's a deficit of oil by 2 million. So obviously, someone's sliding it into the market, but it's not being counted, because we would probably see, I forget what the number is every day. How many? Was there like 100 and some odd? Or I guess I don't know. U.S. is like 12 million. Saudi Arabia is like I guess 12 or 13 million, and the Russian Federation is something like 11 or 12 million. So there's like 36 million barrels a day alone right there. Now you got 4 or 5 million coming from Mexico. You got 4 or 5 million coming from Nigeria. What do they do? And what's Great Britain do? 3 million or 4. Norway does a couple million. I mean, there could be, I don't know how many. I think they might do 80 or 90 million barrels a day. The world. So 2 million sliding in here or there will have some effect, but it shouldn't have it shouldn't like move it up $50. It could move it up $3 or $4 or $5, that type of thing, I would think. All right. From there, we slide over to Nat Gas. There's the September contract. You can see it's doing a little pop here this morning after that sell-off 2 days ago. And we are still in a weekly sell. You see the fast has jumped up above it. Let's put oil on J4X there. We'll put in Brent. There's Brent. So you can see Brent is doing that big march up too. It's going from the 72 area. Now we're at the 84 area. And then we'll go over to natural gas. Right there. And there's natural gas. It's kind of been trapped in this situation. This is American natural gas, so the high has been almost a little under $3. And we're told pretty much that the European natural gas is in the $20, $26, $27 area. The way we monitor it is through an oil company in Spain. So we'll jump over to that. Right. Janos says it's my favorite stock. And you can see there it's trading at 27.85. We've seen it creep up from the 24s. No more than a month and a half ago. That's July. It was at 25 and change. I think the low is 25.52, and then here we are now at with a high of 28 yesterday of 16, and they're saying that's the cubic foot of it too, basically. So it kind of matches what they pay in Europe, the cubic foot. So from there, we slide over to where do we go? We go from there. We jump over to what's the next one? We go over to let's see. We do. I guess that's it. That's what it is. It's natural gas, the front and back months in the crude, and we look at Brent, and then we look at the Spanish oil company. So from there, we'll go to the metals complex. We saw gold. You can see gold is trying to lift up here. It actually, they must have panicked at one point. It was $7 higher in the December contract. It had touched 2,000 again. And then you can see here silver. Let me put silver up on this. There it is right there. So you see that pressure on gold. It's still reflecting it. And let's see what silver looks like. When we turn the hinky off, obviously you see that gold is up. See that right there. And then from there, we go to silver right there. And turn off the hinky again. It's up, but not as much. There we go. And you can see right there, it's trying to lift back up, but barely moving. Both of them are in weekly buys, so it's not a lot of pressure there. Let's just take a look at the weekly on silver. There we go, right there. It's still in the weekly buy, and with no problem. Maybe it's next week's business. We'll find out next week. All right. From there, we slide over to copper. There you go. You can see there, a couple days now. I think we're 4 days or 5 days over here on Chicago Quant. Yeah. 4 full days in a daily buy. Hasn't gone anywhere, but matter of fact, let's see if we can fix that. Yesterday's looks kind of wonky. There we go. That's better. So that's the movement in copper, and then let's see, where's it at? Right there. Let's save that. Then we go over to the platinum and look at the platinum contract. And you see the platinum went into a sell yesterday, still showing that pressure, still holding on to the weekly buy. As long as the platinum holds on to the weekly buy, we expect to see gold and silver hold on to its upwardly weekly trends. And that's what we've been thinking. So in other words, you have right there, you have gold, still very comfortable in the weekly trend. You can see it's trying to bounce. Obviously, it's more sensitive, and that's where all eyes are always focused. And so, yeah, I expect to see that action more. Then when you go over to silver, same thing. The weekly is very strong there, and the daily is not moving up that much, but it's still positive action going on. So at this point, what do we have there? We have let me see if I have any other opinion about any of that. I guess that's about it. Copper shows its strength, and it's doing a fine job about it all. I like that. I like the fact that copper, that's the industrial metal. That's the hope of the economy getting a better GDP. I mean, that's really where we're at, and that's what we always hope will happen. And the energies, of course, they're always important. Like natural gas here moving up, but it's in a weekly sell, and that shows the lack of increasing inflation around the corner, which is always nice. We want that inflation to dip down and stall out. So that is pretty much it. All right, traders, do we have anything else to say about anything? If not, we're just going to call it a day. It's the end of the week, and I see no questions. Oh, wait a minute. Every time, here you go. Robin says, every time silver breaches 25, it has a heart attack. It does seem that way, doesn't it? It's real. Let's take a look at it. It really is irritating that it does that. To me, in my head, you would think that it wouldn't, but it does. It really does, and I'm always surprised about that. There we are. What's going on here? And so, not there. Not there. Okay. Now let's just show you silver again. It's true. They get up into the 25s, 26, and it just doesn't have the. We saw it over here. It did. It got up to the 26s and stalled out. I really thought they were finally. That might be a good sign, but it didn't do anything positive at all. So, what else we got to say about any of that? I don't see anything else to say. So basically, I got to come up with a title here. And probably is the this central banks and the Federal Reserve keep a tight leash or something like that, because that is the truth. They really do. They keep a tight leash on everything. So I guess best I can say is happy trails to you until we meet again, which will be Monday. Happy trails to you. To all our trading friends. Later, traders. Everybody have a safe and smart weekend. And we will see you Monday, same time, same place. So, arrivederci.